Hello and welcome. Welcome to Arts and Wellness Wednesdays. It's Amanda, your host, and I'm not only doing an audio recording, I am doing a video recording for those of you who'd like to catch the podcast show episode on video as well and see into the studio. So this is the time where you get to see behind the scenes and into the studio. So welcome. I'm glad you could join me today. So I've got a few things that I wanted to touch on today, and also share about an organisation, and I'll do that in the next segment, but I'll do that later on. Although this episode isn't going to be an extra long episode, we're going to keep it concise today because I'm working on some episodes that will allow me to have more guests in, especially on the Wednesdays, for you to listen to and glean some of their insights and knowledge, and just come away feeling for yourself, come away feeling inspired and encouraged to pursue your creative, whatever you're doing creative, and even to step out of your comfort zone. So one of the things that I wanted to remind you, and I have to remind myself as well, I'm going to just turn off my fan. I've got the fan going in the background because I've got mosquito coil burning, and there's mosquitoes in my studio. Can you go figure? I guess they want to be creative as well and creatively inspired. Anyway, one of the things that I wanted to remind you, as I remind myself, is that the main thing you've got to think about is allowing yourself to be creative and to spend time being creative. If you wait around for somebody else to either approve of what you're doing or tell you that they like it, don't wait for other people. Sometimes you might draw something or create something and you're asking people, what do they think? What do you think? What do you think about what you're doing? What do you think about the things that inspire you so much that you actually commit to it and then do it? What do you think about it? Because we can sometimes, in the midst of it, become that feeling of insecurity washes over. And that was one word that I'd said I was going to stop using in relation to myself. So it's not to say that I won't feel the feeling, but rather than just say, oh, I didn't do something because I felt insecure, what does that feeling encompass? So how can you be more descriptive about how you're feeling rather than using that blanket term, I'm feeling insecure? And so I'll use it for today because we all know what we mean. But what I also want you to do is, rather than say, I was feeling insecure, actually dissect how it is you're feeling. Because when you start to think about, oh, how am I feeling about this? You then can either flag up, well, okay, this feeling has been brought about because I am seeking other people's approval. If I decide not to seek other people's approval and just enjoy what I'm doing, then you'll go ahead. I mean, it's the same way that I toyed with doing a actual video for this particular podcast, and I guess it works even better if I've got a guest on, and if I'm with the guest. I mean, if I'm doing a guest who lives in London, or say lives somewhere else in the world, America, Jamaica, I've got some really interesting people that I want to share the work that they do and share their processes and what the arts means for them in regards to their own health, and how, like for me, I'm doing something every day. I'm doing more things now for myself, rather than, okay, I'm creating this sculpture. I don't know if you can see the sculptures behind me. On my desk behind me, I've got some sculptures that I made. They've been made for a while, and they've just been sitting there. And it's because I was feeling, I guess I was feeling unsure about myself. I was thinking that thought that the critic often brings to me, which says, who do you think you are? You know, you might have got your degree in something else, but you've not got your degree in art. And the critic often kind of, kind of moves their body in a kind of condemning way. In terms of in my mind, it's like, you know, and it's just like a snapshot of the critic's words, and they kind of, you know, well, you haven't got a degree in art, you know, yes, so what if you've got a degree? You know, it's just like, but I've been doing, and then the dialogue then starts, but I've been doing it for years. I've been doing it for over 20 years, and I've learned so much, and I am a professional in terms of what I'm doing and my outlook and my approach. Yeah, but you haven't got a degree. So it doesn't often kind of, I don't dwell on it often, but when it does come, it kind of knocks me for a moment, and then I say, do you know what? I'm just going to do it anyway. So that's the phrase I've started to use, because then that phrase allows me to press, post, publish, share, open up the camera, make a video, and do what it is that you are inspired to do. And that's the thing. That's one of the things that I decided, especially for this year, where I had spent so much time last year doing things for other people, for other people's approval, for other people and for other people's approval. And it's just like, you don't need anybody else's approval to do the things that bring you joy. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. It doesn't matter whether anybody else likes it. It doesn't matter if that person doesn't like the form of art that you're doing. Not everybody will. There's 7.5 billion people in the world. And I say this sometimes, you know, it's just like, I only need 1% of that 7 billion. And I don't even need 1%, because 1% of 7 billion is 75 million. I don't need 75 million people. I mean, it'd be nice, you know, but I don't need 75 million people, not, you know, looking at my website and all of this. It'd be lovely if I could reach that amount of people, but I don't need the 1%. So even if I said 0.5, that's 37 million. Or if I said 0.25%, that's like 15, nearly 18 million. So there's that book, I'm not sure who it's by, but it talks about your 100 or 1,000 true fans. And if you think, you know, if I created if I created a product that was, I don't know, $10, $20, £10-20, and my 1,000 true fans decided to support, you know, that's an income. You know, that's, you know, you're not a starving artist. And the idea of a starving artist is I would say, is for those people who, the idea of it is for those people who would never want to explore their creativity, and who will judge somebody else and say, you know, well, you can't make money doing that, because, you know, maybe there's a secret desire. Maybe they weren't encouraged when they were younger. And not all of us were. I wasn't. I was encouraged by a couple of teachers in my primary school, that's primary school. And then there was nothing. You know, from my teenage years, I never, I think up until about 14, 15. After that, I never drew until I was about 22, rhymes. And I just started doing pencil drawings. And when I think back, I was actually very good. They were kind of like photorealistic drawings bordering on. Yeah, they were. I'll say that myself, they were. And there wasn't anybody around me saying, oh, they're really lovely. Nobody said anything. And but I just did it. I just kept on. It was just like I wasn't doing it for anybody. I wasn't doing it I was working at the time, so I wasn't doing it to bring in an income. So that pressure that you can feel that, you know, I've got to sell something, and then you start doing things that you're doing it because, oh, well, people like this. Is this what people are buying now? And yeah, I just drew and I just drew at the time, a lot of graphite portraits. And there was one person who was very close to me that said, oh, that's not art. You know, art is supposed to make you think. You're not supposed to be able to tell. You're not supposed to wonder whether it's a painting or a drawing. And unfortunately, I then stopped. I was so discouraged that I stopped. And what I should have said to myself was, well, if you can't tell whether this is a photo or a drawing, my gosh, you know, that's a real achievement. Now, just because your preference of art may be abstract, yeah, you're never going to appreciate this, so I'm not going to listen to what you're saying. And just carry on doing what I want. For those who are listening, sorry, just having a sip of tea. But yeah, I allowed their comment to stop me in my tracks. And yeah, for nearly 2 years, I didn't want to think about painting at all. I just focused on work. And it was later on over the years that I kind of got back into it. I started card making and jewelry making, and slowly, and I think in those times, when I think back to those times, it was just like I needed to be creative. It was part of and what I talk about now in terms of being, having an impact on your health and well-being. It was something that I needed to do. And the focus wasn't about, as I said, you know, who's going to buy this, who wants to... When I started making cards, it was just like, oh, you know, I got drawn down that whole kind of... It was like this tunnel of card making, scrapbook making, and all of these things. And so I've got all the supplies, and now I use them in mixed media. So I'm creating art journals. I'm, you know, utilizing them, using the jewelry in wall hangings, and I don't know whether I can't pick it up. I've got a sculpture here where I use jewelry, and as I say, it's mixed media in sculptures, wall hangings, and I create art journals. And for myself, so on my Creating in Faith series, I make you know, art journals that each page that is done is just about expressing, about you dipping your toe in to your creative spirit, and it's to really kind of draw you out of your comfort zone and allow you to see that then we're in a comfort zone, we're in something because we are used to it, if we changed, it would feel odd, and we feel a bit insecure because we don't know. So it's more about the unknown and the fear of the unknown. But when you actually take a step, you realise that there isn't any unknown. It's all known. It's all known. It becomes known. It becomes known. It's no longer the unknown. It becomes known. And you're actually, the fear of the unknown is the fear of getting to know yourself. You know, when you dive into your creativity. So that's why I take, you know, when I'm doing my art journals now, so I'm taking it a step by step. You know, okay, let's just do this page. Let's just add, I'm breaking it down. So whereas you might have, if you've done art journaling, then you might have been used to, you know, like you might create a page, you might create a figure, a person, a face. You can still go on to create a face, but we're going to break it down because you've only got 10 minutes. So if that's you and you only have a short amount of time, you'll say to yourself, but what can I do with 10 minutes? I can't do anything with 10 minutes. But I'm showing you with the processes that I use, and it's just like, right, today, all we're doing is laying down some paper, some collage paper. All we're doing is ripping up, we're selecting some papers that we like, or we're playing with your favorite supplies, because a lot of us, or let me just talk about myself, I would have supplies there saying that I'm not going to use them because they're the best. Don't use them and they dry up. Yeah, so I've got so many examples where I've done that and I've not then been able to enjoy the supply because it's no longer usable. Paint's dried up, ink's dried up, pen's dried up. I'm just so glad that I brought a whole series of Pro Marker pens, because I like every now and again to do like illustration and things like that. And I think maybe it's where they're sitting, because they're not sitting in the light. In my studio, I get a lot of light in, and when the sun is setting, it's streaming in, and it can get really hot in here. So yeah, so that's me. And it really is just to encourage you to do something creative, not care about what others think. Somebody will always have an opinion about what you're doing. And what you've got to think about is your opinion of yourself. What do you think, and what do you feel about yourself? And if it is not where it should be, you need to start doing some work in terms of encouraging yourself, thinking about what kind of things that you like, what do you like to do, what creative supplies would you like to use, and join me as well. You know, I've got so many podcast episodes, and even in the Creating in Faith, looking at positive words and showing you how you can speak encouragement into your life, think about yourself in an encouraging way. And so, you know, I encourage you to go back over some of the episodes, look at the inspirational shorts, and look at even some of the interviews, because you can glean something from everything that is put out there. Somebody might say one thing, like I listened to this lady and I really want to get her on my podcast. She did a BBC radio program, and it was about indigo and the dyes, and there was several of them, but this young lady is based in Jamaica, and she's doing some, when I look at her work, and it's not necessarily only the things that she's creating, it's just the video series she does, and I will put her details in the show notes so that you can take a look. But she's been doing these videos, and it's looking back, and the enslaved were treated very badly to process indigo, very badly anyway. And you've got that history with the indigo as well as cotton as well. And I've been looking at cotton and growing cotton and using it in my studio and using it in pieces. I've used it in some, when I've combined fabric and clay, and I've done some mini weavings as well with the cotton that I've produced and processed. Yeah, so essentially what I want you to remember to do is to shine your light. And somebody might say, oh, but what does it mean to shine your light? And it means to do you, to do the things that you really want to do, to express yourself in the way that you want to express. Now, we're not talking the negative side where, okay, yeah, I feel like just cussing everybody out. It's just like, no, it's like giving love, showing love, sharing love, speaking positive words over somebody else's life. So finding the true place where you dwell, the true inner place where you dwell, and bring that out. And that's something that I've felt to myself this year. Do you know what? It's not going to be about it's not going to be about, oh no, I can't show this because, oh no, I can't share this because. I'm not sharing anything, you know, if it's personal to family or whatever. I'm not showing things like that. But if I create something, we're looking at the process of the creation, not the created thing. So making a little art journal. My podcast, as if you don't watch the video, then you'll definitely see the information in the blog. But it's yeah, making it for yourself. So I made, you know, I make loads of little journals, and they are about me just spending time, and a lot of them have encouraging words and imagery. And in this particular journal that I'm showing up on camera for those of you who are watching the video, I'm sharing, it's a book with encouraging words, and then on one side it was a pencil drawing that I did that I photocopied. I was going to use it for something else, but then I've put them in this mini book, and I'm just using it as a time to be able to, like, quiet reflection. So when I go onto a page, it's the same image as yesterday, but I can approach it in a different way. I can use different supplies, and it's just about, you know, that's just what I need for this particular time. So I definitely encourage you to, you know, come on to some of the platforms, look at some of the links that I've left, and see what is going on, so that you can be inspired and encourage yourself. So what's happening in the art scene? I always excuse me, I always list what's going on in I've got my Arts in Health network, and I'll leave the links, and I curate information about events that are happening around the world to do with the arts and health. And there's the Barbados online, what's going on in Barbados online magazine, which is curated by Corey Scott. And there's the Artists Alliance website, which shares information about exhibitions that are going on. I need to take another sip of tea. Was that a sip? There's a studio, the art studio tours. Again, I'm one of the artists taking part in the art studio tours, and the dates are the 15th and 16th of February and the 14th and 15th of March. So for 2 days, 11 till 5 on both days, you can come to the studio space. I'm going to be putting a lot of my finished pieces in my gallery next door, so you'll be able to see a lot of the work together. It does look quite, when you see all of the sculptures together, it's actually quite powerful, and they all tell their own individual story. It's quite, I'm sometimes amazed myself, you know, because they all start organically. I don't plan what I want to do. I may have a vague shape, but as I'm working, it kind of grows. And it's the same with my wall hangings. It's wanting to tell a story but not sure what the story is has been revealed yet. Anyway, so the other thing I wanted to share with you is an organization called well, their website is they're called the Art Clinic, and it's www.artclinic.org.uk. So they've got an interactive art therapy program on there, and it's going to have its own separate domain, which is Art Emotion, and it should be live now. So they do themed art and health community projects, and they provide art therapy sessions via public workshops and private sessions for families, groups and individuals. And what have they done? So on the Arts and Health Network, they have so I've listed what they've done. They've got a care is an animation made by the Art Clinic Liverpool in collaboration with 21 young people in the care system who want to give emotional support to young people who are entering the care system. So I'll leave their link to their video that they've done. So basically the care animation was created through work with young people within the care system, and the young people took part in either group workshops or one-to-one interviews where they creatively reflected on their own journeys of into care through the care system, and they thought about what messages they would give to their younger selves. So there's always loads of young people who are entering into the care system, and with the hindsight of their experience, they would creatively, you know, share what if they knew then what they know now. The words used in the animations are words taken from these sessions, and the project was honest, emotional, cathartic and empowering, and they feel that the essence of this important work was captured by the animation. So yeah, definitely take a look at that. I wanted to share their details, and you know, that's what it's all about. If you've got, you know, whatever platform you've got, if you can share the work that is going on by other people, support other people, and shine a spotlight on the work that they're doing. They're doing a really, you know, important work with young people, and it's about supporting them emotionally, because that's the thing that is missing. You know, you're trundled into the care system, and then you're left on your own to navigate, and you know, there's so many things that happen to young people who go into the care system that, and then they come out, you know, affected where they should have had support. If you think, you know, in line with you know, a child that hasn't gone into the care system, there's so much more that can be done. So I really, you know, applaud this organisation for doing the work that they do, and hope that they get the support to continue the work. Okay, so as I said, I'll leave all their links in the description, on the blog, at the bottom of the video, and hope that you get to check it out. Hope that, you know, that you found something that you can take away from this recording, either via the podcast and the blog. As I say, I'll be sharing a lot more of the information on the blog today, so I've got some work to get on and do so that you can get it hot off the press. So thank you for watching, thank you for listening, and I look forward to connecting with you next week for the next Arts in Wellness episode, and we will see who the guest will be or what we'll be talking about then. And yeah, just look forward to connecting with you. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Okay, take care for now.